one.
time for. All right, no problem. Even if it is oral one, just make it.
Okay, so like this one is a pretty simple presentation. It's about the types of stars and star formation, basically. You may be familiar with some of the aspects of it. I'll go a little in depth of some of the more extreme cases as well as some of the things. So like I so like yeah, stars. I'll
Okay,
talk about.
right.
So like everyone knows what a star is. Like our sun is our star. There's plenty of stars throughout the universe. Like they're made of mainly gases. So most of them are made of hydrogen. And then like as you move on towards the mass, the element increases. So it will be helium, then carbon, then oxygen, then silicon, and then finally iron is the last element before it becomes impossible because they couldn't like stars like few use elements together in order to make themselves. So like the iron couldn't be fused into any more elements before like that. So that's why iron is like the final thing. And very few stars reach that stage of iron. Like our sun is gonna probably gonna not be able to fuse carbon, which is which is only a smaller element compared to other stars. And most of the stars we see are pretty far, other than our sun, is pretty far away, and like it's not our sun size. It's like big size stars, like that are so far away in light years that they probably were that died off then. But like since we appear light to like Betelgeuse, for example, it's 200. It's plenty of light years away, over tens of thousands of light years away, and yet it probably died off by then. But like since we're still 250,000, since we're so far away, we still see it in the big stage, like in the final stage, and like how big and luminous it is, and like we can
Phones.
see it in the night sky. So like some of the types of stars include brown dwarfs, which are also called failed stars, which comes from clouds of interstellar gas and others as other stars do, but never like has the sufficient mass enough to reach a star. So it's kind of opposite of the bigger stars. It doesn't that has too much mass that blows away into a supernova. So like this is kind of like the opposite of that. And then like they are all even though like they're not even though they're like one of the most common types of stars, we couldn't really find them due to their color. Like it's hidden in gas, which kind of makes it hard for astronomers to see through. However, we have found some of them. And red dwarfs are relatively cool stars. They're bigger than brown dwarfs, and like they are kind of like they're pretty dim stars, and like they live much longer because they don't fuse as much energy before. Like one of our Proxima Centauri b, for example, which is a nearby star to the sun, that that star is a brown dwarf, and it's gonna last about 3 times longer than the sun is gonna last. And then yellow dwarfs, and like that is our sun. So like basically a lot of the out of those types of things they are also one of the most common ones as well. It's called the main sequence kind of those stars. And yeah, and then white dwarfs are bright main sequence stars, and like they are one point they're slightly higher than our sun's mass, and like they have and like Sirius is a good example. Like Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky, they say. But like that's a good example of a white dwarf. And it's mainly bright because of its proximity to the sun, not because it's like actually not far away. And it's still gonna be our brightest star for the next 10,000 years, according to things. And red giants, luminous red giants of lower intermediate mass, is in the typical later phase of evolution of a star. So like when hydrogen, the first element, is when converted all into helium, then it will start fusing helium. That's when it attains the red giant stage. And like our sun is gonna go through that stage later. It's gonna take about another 4 billion years or so, but like it's going to, and it will expand in size greatly. Like it's probably gonna consume the Earth by then with the magnificent side. It's gonna be 256 times the larger than what it is. So like it's already sun is already 99.85, I think, some percent of the solar system. Imagine what it would be with that much size. And then black dwarfs are like we don't know the confirmation of these elements yet, and like we think like they exist for so long that like we couldn't even find them, because like the universe, it's only 14 billion years old by now, which like kind of is very weird. But like white dwarfs, typically black dwarfs are like created from the remnants of white dwarfs, or which are like the things which are, like I mentioned earlier, pretty bright main sequence stars. And like they typically can last for a very long time before like that. So like they can last for up to like 14 billion years or something, which like our universe is only 14 billion years or something. So like there's still a lot of time. There's not enough time to see like before we can see a lot of these. And like so like there's no like very proven evidence that they exist, though like hypothetically they seem to exist. And then blue giants are like they're basically giant blue stars, and like they basically are like kind of like they basically are so hot that they produce the color blue rather than the color red. And also the biggest, this blue star is one of the right is called Rigel. So like it's in the, if you know the constellation Orion, it's in that. And like neutron stars are like the remnants of the red giant, so their sun is gonna go through that phase. And like it's gonna base wait, I'm sorry, right, not our sun, like anything bigger than our sun will go through that phase. And like they basically are rotating stars, and like it's basically like where bigger stars die off. So like suns is 1.4, is one solar mass, 1.4 solar masses and above, which is called the Chandrasekhar limit. It will reach a neutron on star, or if it's so big, it will reach a black hole. There's another limit name for that as well. Don't need to check that, but like yeah. And then finally the variable stars are like the ones that are kind of like the weirder ones, because like they vary in like the brightness and like stuff. And like it can be some factors, like the earth just couldn't like see it pretty well sometimes, but other times it's actually some pretty weird things like binary stars, like which are two stars that are rotating with each other, and like it will seem like once part is brighter than another because one of the stars is typically bigger here. So like yeah, and like that's basically it for this star presentation. I just went over the types of stars.
Right. So that's pretty interesting interpretation about the stars. And what was the reason? I mean, why were you not able to prepare a PPT slide or something? Because that would have been wonderful if it has been.
With stars, yeah. I
Yeah.
just was similar to Ananya, I just having too much work in
Mm.
school. That's the reason why. I'll try
Hmm.
making a PPT next week though.
Next.
That should
All
be
right.
within reach, because like typically I focus on it Saturday, but like Saturday this week, yesterday, which is yesterday for me, it kind of was very busy. Like I had to go volunteer somewhere. I had to do lots of schoolwork. Yeah, that's
Mm.
why I wasn't.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, if it is a bit of a problem with related to the academics, you can just let me know in the previous day, we'll call the class off and we will resume next week. Okay. About the kind of the presentation that you have made, the kind of data that you spoke about, it's been only 14 billion years since the universe has been established and all the other stuff. Stephen Hawkins in one of his books has written that all these evidences have not been properly proven, and we only have the redundancy errors in the data. That's what the scientist said about these kinds of revelations of facts. So my question as you're a teenager and the current youngster who has got a lot of affinity towards science and these stuff, what if all these are just baseless kind of evidences, and who has the authority or the power to prove that all these data are true? Do we really have some agencies or some group of people who can vouch on the point that these data are real? How do we know, and how can we believe, on what kind of basis we can believe all this? What do you think?
I mean, like a lot of it, it's you can see it now because our telescopes are so like visible and stuff. Like you can see some of it. It's a lot of it is true. To like what Stephen Hawking said, there's
Mm,
definitely like some like very big discrepancies with it, and like there
mm,
could be some major flaws in it. Like with the black dwarfs, I'd say it's still hypothetical, and like most people are telling it as a normal thing, which is
mm,
not like exactly what you want to do. So like there's now a lot of trusted organizations for it. However,
mm,
like NASA and in India, there's like India Space Agency and like there's a bunch IASA and then like the European Space Agency and like there's
mm,
a lot of those. However, like space, I think like in the near future, it's not gonna be focused on like getting stars, but like
mm,
rather than on local colonization. Like China is planning on going to the moon. The US, they're saying they're
mm,
gonna go to the moon. There's some plot, there's some interference and stuff. Russia is also wanting to. So like there's even India expressed interest. There's definitely some of those. That is what this decade is preparing for. And like it's
mm,
gonna create the conflict for space, and like it's gonna create some variance in data
mm,
like our studies, and like we possibly may not even trust our own studies then. And so like politics is gonna definitely come in play. But as for like the bigger bigger stars, like we need the more time and like for the younger generation to kind of like come into this point, like there are more many astronomers are going to there's still a lot of questions unanswered, and there's that, and science is always about arguments. So like they're probably gonna argue about some, it's gonna continue the arguments, and like basically they're gonna work on it basically. Like they're not astronomers is a very hope right so far has been very out of politics, which
mm,
is a good thing because like that presents more scientists. But like when politics come in, that's when everything gets messed up. Like they
mm.
can inflate the things, and like yeah, and like basically there's more technology still needed to make it, and which would definitely be available in the future.
Okay, okay, right. So, are you interested in a career in this? Like, most of the time when you are speaking, it's with regard to the science and space, and this is not the first time you have spoken about space things, and also about the other core elements of science. Now, being in the 11th grade, do you, in any of these classes that you have attended so far, have you ever felt that, right, so I think I have found out my vision in which domain I would be doing really well, so I have found that out? Likewise, did you come across that kind of thinking in any of these classes?
Not really so far, or
Okay.
to be honest, but like I didn't astronomy, while like it's definitely seems cool, I probably wouldn't do it as a profession, mainly because like it's gonna take a lot of college and stuff, and like yeah, and like yeah, I mean like I may prefer like some other type of engineering that there's like definite that I can quickly like get a job in. And then
Hmm.
like if I need to go to college more, I can always, because like college in the US, this is very expensive and all, like especially like if you want to try out for bigger schools, like it is not a good time to spend that much money on like some education. And like
Hmm.
astronomers, though like they make a lot of money, it's like it's also like I wouldn't say like I would go like 4 years for like astronomy because like while the concept of astronomy is very cool and like all these stuff, there's a in reality it's basically like math. It's like a lot of math basically. And like while I like math, it's not I don't like it so much that I do it for like 4 years. There's so
Okay.
like some classes I liked. I liked science and history are like my two favorite ones. So like Chem, so like I like the history class I took last year, and so far
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
liking the chemistry class I'm taking this year, though like I don't so like but like I don't really know yet like what class would be.
Okay. That's a good presentation by you, Achyut, and I was really happy with the way that you have taken the oral presentation to the effective way. Although, yes, there was a kind of a dearth of kind of the pictures which could have been added as a presentation
And
aid.
so yeah, we could have added the
No
pictures.
problem. No problem. So please feel free to tell me when you're having some academic load. Like you can send it to your dad's WhatsApp number about your if you're sensing an absence the next day. It's cool. Just give me a prior information and we'll make it accordingly. So because if too much of an academic crunch, and if that academics is not really allowing you to do these kinds of preparations, then it's not a problem. So it's not a mandate. But anyhow, that's a good presentation. Anantika, do you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay, so Anantika and Ananya has taken a break. So in the forthcoming weekend, starting from with effect from today, Ananya will not be joining us because she has got a lot of academic work. That's what her dad said. Maybe she will join in the future. So Achyut just made the presentation. He finished his presentation. I started the class by 5:35 itself. So do you have your presentation ready, Anantika?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So then we can start because today the class is only, no, I think hopefully Sunday classes will be only you both. So we will make sure that we have presentations on Sunday. Yeah. What topic are you going to make presentation on, Anantika?
Sir, sir, as you said, you said that we can take our own topic. So I have
Hmm.
selected the common which is very which is want to be said to everyone, which is want to be known by everyone. The
Mhm.
common problem is the ozone depletion. I
Good.
have taken the topic about ozone depletion, sir.
Fantastic. Nice selection of topic. And Achyut just finished a presentation pretty much similar to your genre. He spoke about the stars and he also spoke about the latest scientific data about the stars and the evolution of stars. Yeah. So get ready with the presentation. Ready? You can start your presentation, Anantika.
Sir, I have did the slide presentation so I can share the screen share, sir.
Yeah, I have enabled it. You can screen share. And in 40 minutes, we will have our Zoom meeting ended. And if it is extended, then we shall start a new window. But you still have about 16, 17 minutes. So you can do the presentation. Yes, you can share the screen. Okay, I got your presentation. Right, I will open it from here. 1 second, it's getting opened. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm sharing it. How do our activities affect the environment? The first slide, 3, 2, 1, go. Yes, Anantika, you can start.
So, as we said, as a human, only the human we are living in the earth are affecting or degrading using the earth in a many process. Using the earth for many product to produce and we are affecting the environment, our mother earth, in many ways. So, as I said, the one there are more ways we are affecting the environment. As the one way is ocean depletion. So next slide. So I the ozone depletion. First, I can say about ozone. A ozone layer which is protecting, which is acting as a shield for our earth and protecting us from ultraviolet radiation which is coming from sun. So the it is ozone layer is between stratosphere and troposphere. So by we are using refrigerators, fire extinguishers. It has containing CFC. That means chlorofluorocarbon atoms are gas which is present inside is affecting the ozone layers in many ways. So by this, the ultraviolet rays are separated in three types. So the UV ray A1. So the A ray can enter our earth, which is the common sunlight we are getting from sun. Next, UVB is stopped by ozone in the layer of ozone sphere. Next, UVC is stopped by the stratosphere ozone molecules present in the stratosphere. UV ray is most harmful for our earth. UVB, actually the second ray which is less harmful, it also be harmful for our earth. It cause skin cancer for human beings, and organisms also affected by UVB rays. So the depletion of ozone layer, the UVB rays are entering into our earth. So we are affected in many ways. Actually, we are creating ozone depletion, and we are the affected. We are getting the effect from the UV rays. So the causes by human beings. So next slide. So next, human are the integral part of the environment. We are playing an important role in food chain and the maintaining of population also. Changing in the environment affect us and our activities. Actually, our activities are affecting environment. So the environment change will affect us and our activities. That means the daily routines which we are doing, and changing in the environment around us. So these if commonly the activities and our daily routines change, the environment around us also will be changed in equal manner. So human activities. So as I said, the humans are polluting the environment in many ways by garbages, by plastics, by putting waste, by more chemicals, by harmful gases released by industry. So in many ways, we are depleting ozone layer which is shielding us from UV rays. So ozone is O3. The three oxygen molecules are combined to form ozone in the molecular form by three atoms of oxygen. So oxygen is essential for all aerobic form of life. So we already know aerobic form of life means water and oxygen present together to combine our life, like human beings and reptiles, animals, bats are an aerobic respirational organs which will take oxygen inside, oxygen to inhale. So oxygen is an essential for all aerobic form of life. Next. So ozone layer is a deadly poisonous gas which is present in our atmosphere. However, at the higher level of the atmosphere, ozone performs an essential function. So ozone, as I said, ozone is also shielding our earth. Ozone is the most deadliest poison which is present outside, actually between stratosphere and troposphere. The most deadliest gas which is present in outer shield of our earth. However, at the higher level, so above the atmosphere, ozone is performing an essential function. It is shielding us from UV rays, that means ultraviolet radiation. It shields the surface of the earth from ultraviolet radiation from the sun. This radiation is highly damaging the organs which is living in earth, like human beings, microorganisms, crops, like plants, animals, all type of like algae, all the micro cells also affected by UV rays. This radiation is highly damage to the organisms. This radiation is known to cause skin cancer in human beings, like blood cancer. Skin cancer is caused by UV radiation. Also, it killed many peoples in like some sunny summer days. So doctors are saying that don't go outside in 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock in sun. So these UV rays will affect human beings in many ways. So ozone at the higher level of atmosphere is a product of UV radiation. So UV radiation is the main formula to produce ozone gas. That means O3 gas. So UV radiation acting on oxygen, that means O2, and splitting it into O atoms. That means the atom containing one oxygen molecule. So if two oxygen molecules are combined, that is an oxygen gas. If one is, that is a single free oxygen atom which contain one molecule of oxygen. So next slide, sir. So harmful effects of ozone layer depletion. So these always not only humans are affecting by ozone UV rays. I already said crop growth is also affected. Then increasing diseases like now we seen like corona, more diseases will be spread. The symptoms of diseases and these all problems were only because of ozone layer depletion. Then so it also affects bacterial growths. The human human health, it is affecting us by harmful UV rays radiation reaching in the earth's surface. This is harmful for human health and crop health. UV radiation also affect on the growth of crop, essentially rice. So rice in India, the rice is a main staple food for Indians. So as I said, by ozone layer depletion, the crop health is affected as more as possible because they are the one who is directly facing the sun. Crops cannot move; they are the standing on a place, so the sun will affect the crops directly. So our rice crop as paddy, rice and maize are the main crops will affected by UV radiation and increasing diseases, increased rising infect of skin cancer. In human body, it will affect the diseases like skin cancer and it infected diseases. And I also getting human eye is also getting more affected in this issue because the human eye is the only sensitive part which is not having any protection layer. Then UV radiation inhabits the reproduction, the biocycle of food chain of animals, plants, and human beings is affected by UV rays. So next slide, sir. So this atom, actually the one molecule of oxygen is combined with the molecule of oxygen. Actually, oxygen gas, which contain O2, will gives us O3. So O2 by UV ultra radiation waves, it will split into O. Actually, one atom plus another oxygen atom. Then one oxygen atom plus two oxygen molecules gives O3. So when the main component for the for ozone layer is oxygen and ultraviolet radiation. This amount of oxygen, ozone in the atmosphere began to drop. So after the industrial revolution only, the ozone layer started to deplete. If one positive side for the ozone means if one positive side for an industrial revolution means the negative side is ozone depletion. One positive is going to happen in side by side, the negative also is started. In 1980s, the ozone, sir?
The session is going to end, so we shall continue with a new window. If you and Achyut don't mind, shall I start a new window? And we'll continue the presentation in that new window because it's 40 minutes since we have started. Okay. Achyut, join. Join in the new window. I'm closing this, and both of you join in the new window, and then we'll resume the presentation.